Where'd Nathaniel go?
I don't know. Whoa! I can't dive under my desk. I wish I could.
Let's all go like this when he comes back.
Okay, what is that? There we go.
Hey guys.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Too spooky for me, man.
Whoa. Where'd you go?
I had to get my charger.
Ah,
Ah.
as I
Guess
was
what?
saying.
Guess what's gonna be the cold open now, bud? The Monster Squad, 1987, a young group of monster fanatics attempt to save their hometown from Count Dracula and his monsters. Directed by Fred Decker and written by Shane Black and Red Decker. Fred Decker.
I like this movie. It was fun. I kind of liked the bringing together all the monsters and stuff. It was kind of fun too watching it after having watched all these films, already kind of being in all the lore and everything. There was a couple jokes that I thought were good, and some interesting like camera work with the jokes that was good. I can't remember any specific examples, but it was fun. I feel like I could like find a lot to complain or critique about this film, but it was just such an unoffensive, like kind of campy TV movie. I didn't even feel like bothering critiquing it too much. It was just like it was what it was, and it wasn't trying to be that much. So I didn't want to needlessly tear it apart. But it was fine. It didn't do a lot for me.
Overall, I would say that it was pretty fun. Yeah, it was like okay, like Nathaniel said, like it came at a pretty cool time because we were familiar with a lot of these monsters, and seeing them as the villains in this movie was pretty cool. I think it had one of the derpiest looking werewolves though. As far as like cost, like I like the
Yeah.
transformation scene, but the end result was like so derpy looking. I think the biggest thing that hasn't aged well is probably some of the writing, because some of the writing is like, hey, the bad boy actually is blackmailing this girl with some nudes that he shot from next door.
Yeah.
I
I
was
was
like,
so
oh,
uncomfortable. Oh my god.
Guess what? Fox Photos got a 2-for-1 deal this week, and wouldn't you know it, there's a space on the bulletin board right between the prom committee notes and the football roster.
but overall, I think it was fun. I think it was a pretty good movie.
This movie feels to me like Hocus Pocus must feel like to a lot of people. And in the sense that, I don't know, I didn't have many complaints to throw towards Hocus Pocus on a technical level, but I also don't really understand why it has the cult following that it does, particularly for Halloween. I just don't think there's that much from it that's that memorable or quotable. But even though this movie also isn't one that I like adore and is a cult favorite of mine now, I could definitely see more people connecting to this movie and having it be their nostalgic Halloween movie. I think it does a good job of being that. I think it does a good job of bringing classic horror characters to life with some fun inspiration. I do agree with your critique, Jordan, of the werewolf. I like the creature from the lagoon's character design a lot, actually. I was really happy that Frankenstein's creation was a sympathetic character. I was a little worried the way the like box art and posters and stuff had him paired in that he would just be an evil monster. I'm glad they had him more as a sympathetic character. as I think we all have, my biggest issue is with a lot of the writing. A lot of it has not aged well at all. There are some really weird, very specifically aggressively homophobic scenes. I'm all about historical context and the fact that, naturally movies are a product of their time and that they won't necessarily age as well as modern films. There were multiple scenes that were a little bit off. The blackmail scene, as Jordan said, was especially uncomfortable. And I can't really imagine being right at any time. And there's just some weird choices. Like, there's a German man in this movie that the kids consult for mythology on these monsters and how to beat them. And they go, "Gee, sir, you sure know a lot about monsters." He's like, "Indeed I do." And he closes the door. There's like a tattoo from Auschwitz. And if this was like made allusion to again later on in the film, okay. But that's all there is. It's just like a weird one-off where they're like, you know who the real monster is? Adolf Hitler in the Holocaust. And then it's never mentioned again. It's not an underlying theme. They just really wanted to put that there. Overall, I think it's a fun movie. I think there are some funny spots. I do like the story itself. The concept's pretty cool. They do a good job of, sort of bringing these characters to life. It's fun seeing how these kids try to prepare to fight literal monsters. So yeah, and there's definitely elements I enjoy about it.
Given that it's supposed to be a movie about all these classic monsters sort of teaming up, they never actually team up. They all just get killed individually by the kids. And I was somewhat anticipating some kind of almost like Avengers moment where they're all together.
Yeah.
And that just never was there.
What's interesting is, if my memory serves, I think I remember Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed actually having a better, classic monsters teaming up scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually.
And I'd definitely be interested maybe for next, 31 Nights of Halloween 2021, maybe including Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, just to see. But I feel like I remember, all these monsters coming in and really all of them having their own big theatric, introduction and teaming up together. And, even though, as I said, I do like that Frankenstein's creation is a sympathetic character, it would have been interesting to see him really help more. Whereas more so his sympathetic nature is just in the fact that he does not do the thing Dracula told him to do, rather than really providing insight and assistance that they would not have had otherwise. But it's a cool concept. I enjoy the concept quite a great deal. And it's cool seeing them prepare, melting the bullets down and sharpening the stakes and all that.
In a classic 80s montage. So overall, I think this movie was fine. There was definitely a lot of fun moments in it. I think the idea is really fun, just having all these classic movie monsters together. I was hoping for more, and when I heard the concept of it, I was hoping, I was really looking forward to this movie. It does deliver on that a little bit. And I would probably rewatch it again, but there are things that have aged pretty poorly as far as just the writing alone, as far as what they found humorous or more acceptable for the characters. Something that we left out was the fact that they're not okay with calling Frankenstein's monster a monster, because that'll make him uncomfortable, but they call the kid Fat Kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's called Fat Kid in the closed captions, because I had the closed captions on for whatever reason. And it literally just says Fat Kid, : and then says whatever he says.
And they don't respect him until he has a shotgun at the end.
Fat kid. Good job.
My name is Horace.
It has some 80s fun to it, and definitely has those moments that you come to appreciate from 80s movies, but there's also the things that haven't aged well. Overall, I would, on a second watch, maybe recommend it. I'm not sure, but with the caveat of knowing that there are things that have aged with it.
Like Jordan says, I'd recommend this with a caveat. I think it also depends on what you're looking for in a Halloween movie. If you're open to watching pretty much any of the movies on this list, and you're not looking for specifically a milder or more family-friendly Halloween option, this probably wouldn't even come close to the top of the list. There are a lot of other movies I find more, compelling for it. But in the genre of family-friendly Halloween, I do enjoy it. I definitely think it has some value, and I can definitely see why people do like it and why people consider it, Halloween nostalgic movie that they watch every year. I haven't grown up with neither this nor Hocus Pocus. I definitely like this better, but as you guys said, there's definitely some serious issues with it, and you have to be aware of those things when you go in. But you can have some fun. Yeah,
this movie, it's fun, and there's things to be gotten out of it. I think if you do watch it, I probably wouldn't recommend it just because in terms of either like fun, like kind of family movies or Halloween movies, I think there's just much better in both of those categories. But I mean, if you find yourself watching it, you'll have a good time. But yeah, this movie didn't do much for me.
Honestly, I'm surprised that this movie isn't on any streaming platforms. I had to end up renting it. Did you guys find it anywhere else?
Yeah, I had to rent it.
Yeah.
I feel like I think I watched it on some random streaming service that had ads.
This would be a lot more easier for me to recommend if it was on a streaming site. If you had to seek it out, I definitely.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I would alter mine to that as well. If this somehow came onto Netflix and you just want to watch something quickly in the Halloween season to get you into the mood, it is definitely worth it. I don't know whether I'd recommend going out of your way to seek it out if there's other movies you're excited to watch.
Who are you?
We're the Monster Squad.
So anyway, that has been our episode of Monster Squad. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe and share. It's very fun to do these. Next up, we have one that I've been looking forward to for a long time. It's actually my first time seeing it. I believe, Nathaniel, you hadn't seen it before?
I haven't seen it either, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times.
This is one that I'm actually surprised I hadn't seen yet. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. I believe we have Thea coming back for it, but it's going to be a fun time. Anyway, we'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.